No, they
all find us equally.
How are you? She's one of those.
Mr. Sergeant at Arms. Perfect. And Leo, thank you for filling in for Neil today. You did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you.
As always. Mac.
Hi.
You want to lead us in O Canada?
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
I ask you to pick up your glass. And a toast to Canada.
Canada.
To the Queen. And to the Kitchener. That's not going to be fun. Please bow our heads for the invocation. Let my eyes be opened. Let me awake and see the beauty of that surrounds me all around. Let me hear the singing of the birds and make their wonderful sound. Let me thank God for my health that has been good to me so far. Let all my dreams come true with the wishes upon a star. Let me be thankful for friendship and for our loving giving and the loving given me. And let me forever not forget the caring that has made me see what I see. If any Rotarians have brought a guest, would you please introduce them?
Well, I brought a guest. I'm very proud to introduce my son, Mark, who's a recent law school graduate. Passed the bar this summer. He's working with Duncan Linton in Waterloo, where they're working him like a rented mule. And he's curious about Rotary, so I thought, well, we could start by coming to a meeting and getting a flavor for who's involved and what we do. So he's here to do that, and I'm glad he's here.
Very good. Anyone else?
Our speaker today is Owen Reamers. He'll be suitably introduced in a few minutes.
Rotarians, how do we welcome our guests? And I ask that our guests lead us to the buffet. Lead us down
Follow me.
way.
No, I don't know. That's something I'm missing. Oh, thank you.
No, I know it's like a safely in the office.
It's a different model than what we discussed last time. Was responsible for sending money and we didn't collect money. I mean, even John said, here's the ad.
Yeah, unless you go outside, I know. It's going away.
And here,
Excellent. My son Mark. Really block. Yeah, that's a bit of my do a lot of international work together. Yeah, they do some deep work in India.
Yeah, co-chair. So we've had all kinds of
John, you should see my son Mark. Mark John.
I'm sure she's
Like a mule.
Oh, yeah.
These two finished their coffee.
John's new to our board. It's a new eye.
That's right. Judy said that in that on there.
John's involved in a really cool meeting. They have, gotta get the car farm, what do you call it? White Horse? We have to fly up there periodically until they Friday morning in the car. And also raise the roll alone. And get the roll in after lovely Thursday. The highest end fish you can actually, yeah, perfect for eating.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Where I work at it's just back to tucked in behind like Rolling Meadows, behind me, that area. A couple blocks
And there are
from that
differences,
house.
but they're small and they're
Well, you want to be on a smaller, better.
I was in bed.
Well, this one was one of the original ones.
I don't
Yeah, we don't buy wild
Right, yeah.
But it makes it easier if you have the shuttle.
So what's exciting in Reamers these days?
Usually,
More of it.
Also,
Oh, yeah?
yeah, it is
Oh,
also.
how come
Nobody's buying your house on Aaron's Avenue?
Simon, my son Mark. He's just entering the profession, so I'm sort of.
I'm on college.
Trying to get out.
Pretty much.
Welcome back.
Good luck. Good luck.
Must be bigger than the city.
Small one.
Yeah, white, actually, I think he's retiring.
You don't go to
A lot of houses on this block.
Want me to do a different presentation about Owen and I could.
He has most of the work. So I got all around this region for a long time.
We went to grade school and high school, so I tried to college. Yeah. It's one of my favorite senior school retirement homes. I see her every day throughout the day. When I talk to her, she'll tell people.
In high school, yeah, work shadowing days.
So I slip for $20 each time it goes in.
Full new respect for what you. Full new respect for what you. Full new respect for
What's your yeah.
That sounds good. That was
And she always told us about the med. Yeah, so it was during the war, and she got
Damage or
no way. We worked together 65 years or 45 years. That's so cool. Reamers came to the movies with us.
Hey, Griff.
Top amateur winemaker 3 times.
I didn't want to sit by myself.
One of the
Someone sent me an email.
Yeah, you've been in it really.
No.
So it's not right.
Right in the middle of the city, right?
One of my friends of ours.
John, Mark.
Mark.
One on the
Call Leo, that's all you
fundraiser extraordinary. He's probably good ball. Yeah, it's good.
Water gets to this level.
Better if
And they would have
Tired
done
a while
that.
ago.
They supported the local. I know you have to sponsors.
That's the part of that.
You never know what's behind something.
How
many of those are
sponsorship? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So when we're
So
talking
you
about
should have
that,
had 5 minutes.
like I worked in marketing for 5 years, I thought it was
Very
very
careful on
advantageous
their-
to go do that, and
Chris does such a good job.
he does everything right.
Sorry, my tomato.
Sorry, not like you forgot to go
No.
I feel like when he does like big right? Like on a night, you might have a problem like on a wedding. So there's something to say about that, to be able to organize that many people. And everyone has their space. The Oktoberfest, and then now lot 42, being in the mix.
Get back to the 6-year-old boy.
Michelle's the one that made it. Well, that's what I'm saying.
We used to be,
It's not entirely right.
Diversity builds character.
I almost find lot 42. Forever, yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's the first time I met Neil.
the Concordia Club, the venue's a little smaller, so we had less like a permanent comment for the guy raising the bicycle power to kill back fence. It just keeps pushing on more than now. I know I'm going to that's your the lot. I started out.
to move over to generally. For maybe perhaps 30 years to commercial litigation. Well, we have a special relationship with Concordia.
Do you know Ruth? Do you work with Ruth?
I tried to.
I don't know. I'm pretty.
So Ruth's father ran our building, and Ruth gave us 25 passes for opening day. We have a bus with our seniors going for Concordia Club lunch, which I love. I brought them 3 years ago on my own accord. So to get them there was no big deal. Telling them to get back on the bus after they'd had a few drinks. So one lady in India said, I'm going to die at the Concordia Club, and you don't have a say about it. So I had to get her son on the phone. Like, look at it, it's time to go. She was like, I'm an adult, I'm going to save you. It was really fun. So I know you guys do it upstairs, but I think we're downstairs.
Yeah. Concordia, actually, we're the only franchise for people that are in that.
Well, that's it, that's all we're
Concordia Club for fundraisers, for Oktoberfest, we're on our crown mountain, it's right up there at the Concordia. So we kind of have, we 10 members. So, I don't know how. No, we're going to lot.
Yeah, I don't love Christmas too. I just feel like some of the events are have the ability to sometimes it's a little weird thing. I think what they'll get, I think we can. I like Patrick. I like private space inside.
Check that box.
They've put out
Well, that way, I know I have
I do drink a lot of honey.
So why would
The coffee really doesn't. I think I'm the one that shows. Before and after. Yeah.
I love that. Who's Josh back from school?
That's going to be
Oh, okay. That was a week.
Yeah, I went to go see Rocky Horror last night in Stratford. My girlfriend Nicole got tickets, and it was so much fun. I don't know if you know, but it was so interactive.
Did people do with the theater? They bring in the rays and they bring in the.
They give you a package of 5 because it's at the Avon Theater, so they have a cheaper package that is there's no rights or anything. Newspaper. People were so impressed up that I was like sad I didn't use it, but I went
leaving here. The younger lawyers. So what they want is to have
Really?
So they do a red eye from Calgary.
So I went as Frank over there last year. I love dressing up. That's kind of like my.
I don't mind taking the 30.
Did you see the time I had a Forrest Gump dinner the other night. Well, this guy went as my costume, so I was like, it's in Trapper right now.
I don't think they're doing their own.
I'm actually bringing my seniors. I love it. And I also have tickets for they see if my brother
Green coat.
Oh, you're very considerate.
What's the gentleman always?
Oh, we're on?
Big new Rotarians.
I could tell you all about it.
It's risky business.
Our law school dean actually has,
He named it after me.
That's different.
The effect I had on him was like.
I'm gonna go get a little bit. Okay, all right. I know they.
You gotta keep it on. And I think
Now, I mean, undergraduate, so you
still in negotiation. Agreement. U.S. has its own constitution.
So when you land on your,
I don't know. The evolution of this place, but I missed the play once because I'm a couple years in Toronto in Toronto.
that's all they make.
Holograms.
Yeah. Oh, that was the first check. Yeah, it's on the way along, but
We were trying to get ahead of it.
So I had been in court 5 or 6 times when I graduated.
Shows you a full bottle of water.
Yeah, it was very active.
That would be quite funny. Yeah.
I feel guilty. I went to party on Saturday. They had a concert, and I felt really awkward. It was okay. It was, I'm not. I've never heard before, so that was nice. But I felt awkward being there. It was like I told myself I wanted to wait till bed.
That's what I mean.
It was okay. I don't know. I find like big large venues, crowd. I think takes away from Max Markham's house where they have the speakers and the sound system and stuff to accommodate that. So I think some of the concerts and stuff even up too. It's just the sound bounces so much. The venue isn't fully set up just to accommodate
You might consider it.
There's got to be an acronym you should work with.
I would say the main hall, which is not that hall, for corporation like that. The rest of the building,
She told us that we had to underbilling.
if they're not complaining, sign's retiring soon.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're not building that.
written us down and everything.
It wasn't like Disney.
No, they had dessert.
I wonder if some of that.
So he's not retiring so young because he's underbilled.
They're able to put this cloud of getting stuff done.
I think that'd be so
They're at the door. Everything's happening.
I think it goes back to
My plan's called freedom in a box.
So you're more.
Yeah.
Beautiful light.
I went out here and this thing's gonna go on forever. Now that we used to work when the retired at 58, you go up to 63.
Yeah,
Well, they're spending more years in retirement than they ever did working. Right? And the system's not designed. They're looking for.
The best event.
Even the municipality is the owner. It's underfunded.
When you go to the party for these two, that's the
I don't know which one.
and everybody's for drugs. Like,
I think it's. Is it?
It might.
and they're like, everybody's
I'm not
the rib on the
I should get with Tam, so you're like, kind of avoid it, but you never know. Yeah. Like, maybe home service.
There's gonna be a lot of questions.
I can imagine. Yeah, they had turkey, lobster, everything.
Why do you say to the beach?
It's so funny, I just sit with friends that, you know, all these friends that
Every stop on the list 24 hours.
They get to my wife. Always reach. She's beige enough.
Yeah.
You know, all the
I always
things
try to
enough,
forward
but always like.
email I get.
You know what?
She was asking if she should put onto the site.
Thank you so much.
Because I
think
have all those emails come out and generated off the site. So I don't do
Holy moly, dude. You didn't really have to.
It makes a difference which order.
I don't know yet. They have the
Apple is not cut, right? You're bringing in. Apple is cut.
The carrot cake was pretty good.
I don't think
That means we're paying, when this apple is cut, retention, not cut.
that was a concept to start as a
We don't need to pay retention to attract people
yeah,
in
so
the
unless people so I'm sorry, we both, I don't know, I haven't been here since August. The last 2 months before school is back, I was time to return because people are shutting up the cottage, they want to make plans for our school.
What's on the plan?
On every high street.
Yeah, and
Are you saying we need a board?
Well,
We wouldn't
you
even
ever
have
seen
the
that
material
English
for it.
guest minister?
If it wasn't for this.
I've heard of it.
usually
Look
get
it up on YouTube. It is
It's
phenomenal. It's the greatest satire in the world.
There's
There's a minister of the government.
You want to give me your.
And he has,
So I'm Christine.
While you're
I'm
finishing
with
up your
the
service
Secretary.
secretary on some of the announcements, we'll let them come up.
and he's constantly.
And
And
one side,
there will be another email coming out for this meeting, which can make sure that anybody that hasn't registered, registers. I will be contacting people that have not sent me an email to make sure that they're on the list. so that we have space, and if you're taking extra guests along, so I make sure that I know so I can talk to Steve about that. Crown and Anchor sign up, like Todd really needs us to fill in those spots there. So if there's somebody that hasn't stepped up, please step up and sign up for Crown and Anchor. And pardon me, Troy. Troy really needs us to sign up.
I'm looking for a new guy to take over, so talk.
Yeah.
Favorite Todd.
And there is some training involved if you're going to take some people that have not ever done Crown and Anchor before. It's very short. I think it's probably about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Not even 5, maybe.
It's kind of like showing up, filling out a form, and then so they can say that you were there. Oktoberfest opening luncheon. Allison, did you want to address anything about that?
I do, a few things, please. So the lunch is next week, and we have about 2.5 tables worth of tickets left to sell. Some people had been pending and they haven't got back to us, so now we're just going to release those tickets, first come, first served, and we would really appreciate your help to try and push those last 2.5 tables. The other thing that I'm looking for is I could still use a couple of volunteers, and if you volunteer your time, thanks to everybody who did already. But we are trying to get some increased efficiency at the front door so that you can come in, pick up your ticket, know where your seat is. We can direct you to a table to buy a $5 pin, which we brought today if anybody wants to buy one, thanks to the new initiatives committee. They're gorgeous. So you can buy a pin, you can buy a ticket for a commemorative coin that is valued at $100. It's a silver coin to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Oktoberfest. And then Malul Blamia has graciously donated pretzels again for us, and we hand out beer mugs, and then people move into the hall for the celebrations. So I still need 2 volunteers to assist with all of that activity at the front door, and I promise you I will get you to your table in time for lunch so that you're not feeling like you're missing out. So if I had about an hour of your time before the luncheon started, I would really appreciate that. The other thing, just to remind you, when you're coming to the luncheon is to wear your hats and any Rotary outfits that you may have, just so that we can be ambassadors and hosts kind of as we mix and mingle. So I think that's everything. I've got samples of the pins today, and if anybody wants to pick up a few pins on the way out, I'll stay behind for a few minutes, and feel free to, they're $5, and the draw for the coin is $5.
Thank you. Karen, do you want to speak to?
Yep. So I just want, this is just a minute message to remind everybody that about the flag leasing program. So the next day that we would have flags flying in Waterloo region would be Remembrance Day. So we have 75 flags left to lease. So that's our goal, to lease the remaining 75
for November.
For November, and then if you lease them for November, then the date will go from November to November. So it's for the full year. Randy, did I miss anything?
No, I think that's everything.
Okay, all right, that's it.
Because we're looking to lease an extra 75 in the spring as well. But, so, and then I have our renewals. So, okay, Jack isn't here to talk about the turkey shoot. That's October 2nd next week. So understand that that's just a social. The Oktoberfest luncheon next week actually takes the place of our regular Wednesday meeting. So we won't be here next Wednesday. We're at the Oktoberfest luncheon. Members' birthdays. Mr. Paul Pupolo celebrates a birthday on the 23rd of September. Karen Boyson is today. Karen, are you there? Karen's 26, September 26th. Andrew. Shall we sing a happy birthday to Andrew? Today's his birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy Happy birthday, dear Andrew. Happy birthday to you.
And you too tomorrow. Spouses' birthdays. Oh, look at you. Brandon.
I remembered.
You remember?
No reminders?
His was on the 25th. And I remembered on the 24th that Karen and I were married for 36 years. I had to remind her. Somebody told me that when you work together, for her, that's like 72 years. Mark and Maria Warner are 29 years, September 29th. And Bill and Edith Stevens is 51 years, September 30th. We have no club anniversaries this week. Does anyone have any new business that we need to add to the agenda?
I just wanted to thank Belle for coming out with myself and some others last Wednesday to the Food for Kids. We packed some, it was more than just lunches, we packed some meals for local kids. The nice part is it was a community service opportunity, a hands-on opportunity where you get out and see what this was about, and it was all done within an hour. So quick and easy, and they'll have some opportunities coming out in the future that you might be able to tap into. Thanks, Belle. One or two.
All right. Counting's all in place. The 50-50 draw today is $257. I'll buy one or two pitchers of beer this next week. So the last four numbers, the last four numbers, 4639.
464. Oh, yeah, we're pretty sure there's only one.
Yeah.
How sure is it?
Yeah, when I was president, I just kept.
I'm not sure that it's there.
Oh, sorry, Frank. 4640.
Wait.
Oh, wait a minute.
I got
Last guy.
Did you buy a whole bunch?
Three.
Do you have 4641 as well?
I do.
I didn't draw the tickets. Blame Owen. He drew them all. Three times lucky.
Yeah.
And the pop gross.
Yes, see, I was going to say, not that we're going
And with that, I'll call on Belle to introduce our speaker.
Hello, first time here. So I would like to introduce today's speaker, Owen Reamers. So he's a senior manager of open innovation at Christie Digital here in Kitchener. And over his 13 years at this place, Christie, he has developed some of the most amazing visual experiences of the market today, including the ice mapping show used by Las Vegas Golden Knights in this year's Stanley Cup Finals. I really don't know what I just read. Is it hockey related? Okay, good. So, Owen has also managed Christie's involvement in numerous world-class events, including the London Olympics and the Toronto International Film Festival. So, today he's going to be speaking about something that is somehow closely related to me, because I work in STEM. And somehow he is thinking about adding an A from arts into this field. So I'm really curious about how that is going to turn out. So thanks so much.
pretty fantastic introduction. I actually didn't know that that was going to be read aloud, so I felt a little bad writing that about myself when you were reading it, but I do appreciate it. And you're absolutely right. STEM is something that's close to a lot of Kitchener-Waterloo, science, technology, engineering, and math. But there's this initiative to include the arts into the STEM. And that's something just a little while ago I wasn't very familiar with at all. So it's this new initiative called STEAM. And that's a very specific topic to talk about, so maybe I should give you some context. So this is, anybody knows development? Yeah. So not everyone's in favor of the development itself at 2nd King, the strata condo development. But Launch Waterloo, which will, if it goes forward, will occupy the first 3, 4, or 5 floors, will be a pretty fantastic science center destination. And the folks at Launch, which was started by some of my friends at the Institute of Quantum Computing, they really wanted Launch to be a place where we could teach our youngest generation about why they should enter in fields of STEAM. So not just STEM, but the arts as well. So whether you like or dislike the condo, it's really hard not to get behind that initiative. So to give you a little bit of context about Christie. Christie is located right up the road on Wellington Street. Many of you might remember it from Electrohome from those days. It was sold to a Japanese company in '99 and merged with a company called Christie. Our mission there is to help create the world's best shared experiences. Many of us, many people, can you hear me if I talk like this? Yeah? Many people, I'll stick with the mic, that's okay.
You can pull it up.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. So many people know Christie based on our cinema pedigree. We have about 60,000 screens worldwide, which is about 50% of the market share. So if you go into any movie theater around the world, for some reason you're in Copenhagen and you want to catch a movie, there's a 50% chance that one of your hometown manufacturers built that movie. This was really kickstarted by Avatar, if you remember that film by James Cameron. The movie exhibitor houses, so Cineplex and the other guys, needed digital movie theater projectors to play that type of movie. So that really kickstarted the rollout, and we've realized a lot of success over the last few years. And this isn't these little projectors that most of us are familiar with. They're massive feats of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. As you can see on the screen, they're huge, huge projectors. Well, let's, I guess, get back to the point of why include arts with STEM. I actually struggled with this. I said, well, I work at an engineering company. Why not ask me to speak on engineering or technology? But she wanted the arts. And I really struggled with it, but then I thought I could answer that question of why include arts with a STEM with one simple demonstration. What you see in the middle there is a little black box. It's about 16 inches wide. It's called a Christie microtile. It's like a little tiny TV that you stack together, and you can create pretty amazing canvases. So that's our headquarters on the right at Wellington. Left is one of the tallest digital displays indoors in the world, and that's at the Stratford campus for University of Waterloo. So without the arts, you're just left with this. Just a whole bunch of little black, amazing boxes stacked together. It's the artists of the world, the creative minds that really come together and can transform technology from a black box to something amazing. You might have heard of something called projection mapping, and that's the concept of taking a whole bunch of these projectors and shining them on a surface. Maybe it's a building, as we show here. We've done the Sydney Opera House, or the Empire State Building. Empire State Building took 60 of our largest projectors for reference. And sorry for more hockey. I know you get that a lot in Canada, but we're about to start the season, so foolish of me not to relate it back to hockey a little bit. Yeah, Christie, a couple years ago, we saw this trend of using not just screens for displays, but we could use anything. We can use buildings, we can use ice surfaces, and we can use basketball courts to give artists a medium to express themselves. So we worked with the Toronto Maple Leafs and we developed a system for them, and really was pretty fantastic. Because projectors on its own, all I can do is shine light onto the ice and make a grid pattern to align the projectors. That's all I can do. It's the artists that take it to something truly fantastic. So,
Well, you did your part.
yeah. There you go, something truly fantastic. So the next quick little video I want to show you is after we installed the system in the Air Canada Centre is their opening show for I think 2 seasons ago. It's just a few seconds, but it's pretty fantastic. that's just a regular ice surface, but 12 of our projectors blended together, you can do something pretty amazing. But again, without the artists of the world, it would just be a bunch of test patterns. So I want to play another video, and I'll probably just talk over it a little bit. This was with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and we installed a system that used 8 of our projectors, and we illuminated the basketball court. And as you can see, we put trackers on 2 of the contestants, so they drew a raffle 50-50. They got to come down and play a game. And they're human pong boards, basically. So our systems could track them as they move along, and then they had to stop the ball. It's kind of funny, when I did this talk for Launch Waterloo, it targets grades 6, 7, and 8. So trying to describe them that Pong used to be fun was like, okay, buddy. So when you put these things, when you put these feats of STEM into hands of creative people, amazing things can happen. The NHL appreciated that, so did the NBA, and we've had some great success with it. We actually had both teams in the final last year. Washington and Las Vegas both had our systems. So if you catch a pregame show, pretty much any time when you're watching Saturday night, hockey night in Canada, and you see any mapping going on the ice, it's someone right up the road did that. But it's not just for these huge displays. Mapping can be very intimate as well. So what you see at the top left corner, that was Carrie Underwood. I don't know if anyone remembers the Grammys a few years ago. We mapped onto her dress and made a simple white dress come alive. But the trend you'll see more and more in the future is using smaller projectors, as you see here, and taking them into retail stores. So you're not going to change clothes. Our grandkids, my kids, and their kids won't change clothes. They'll just use augmented reality or project onto their outfits. And this is actually installation right now with Nike. This was a kind of cool experiment we wanted to share with you, and it was, we rapid prototyped a 1/5 scale of a model R8. I think that's what you drive around in your hobby time, right, Leo? Pretty fantastic car. So on its own, it's a beautiful thing. But when you just print it out of the machine, it's just this gray material, right? There's nothing to it. So when I play this next video, I want you to remember that the machine, all of the technology that was used to print that car, it's just a piece of gray plastic. And the visuals that you'll see behind the car in this next video is just those black microtiles. It's the artists of the world who bring it alive, to bring it to life.
Was that at Communitech?
That was at Communitech for a little while. Yeah, that's exactly right. So that's something that you could see probably in a dealership in the coming years, right? You don't want a dealership Tesla model. They're going to malls. They're going to retail stores. They're not going to have dealerships necessarily in the future. I'm sorry if there's any GM or dealer owners in the room, but that might be a fact. Okay, so far I've only talked about what STEM can do, or what the arts can do for the STEM. Like the STEM community is often like, we don't need you arts, leave us alone. But I think it has to be a two-way street. The artistic communities, what can the STEM, what can science and technology offer for the arts? And I can probably address that issue by asking this question. I don't know if there's any art buffs in the room, abstract artists. I certainly didn't get this right, but does anybody know the artist who made this? These images? One artist made this, all these. I'd be really impressed because a computer actually made all of these. So if anyone got that right, I would have been pretty shocked. So a computer actually generated, using artificial intelligence, some abstract art. This isn't new. For years now, computers have been able to use artificial intelligence to make art. But even a few years ago, you would have been able to pick out the computer-generated art because it would have been too abstract. A computer didn't know what confines humans can appreciate. They would push the limits too far. So most humans would have been able to, oh, something's wrong with that. Maybe they wouldn't have said it was a computer. Maybe they just thought like a Grateful Dead fan made it or something. It was too abstract. So when this art was shown at a popular abstract art festival, more humans, more professional people who judge art for a living, picked the computer-generated art over the leading abstract artists. That's kind of scary and impressive. So something fun you guys can all do if you think artificial intelligence, I have no clue what this is, it'll never impact my life. This is a website called DeepArt.io, and you can have a lot of fun. I think I'm creative, but I'm not artistic. I can't draw at all. This website allows you to upload one of your own photos and choose a style. So in this case, we have like a river wall, Van Gogh's Starry Night, and you can create some pretty interesting artwork, original artwork. So I want to show you just a couple examples, which I think are fun. This is my daughter. This was at the beach in Florida a couple years ago. And the picture itself isn't that great. Like the exposure is not right. Like I took it from the wrong angle, but she's a pretty sweet girl. And I wanted to take the picture. I asked her, hey, how can we make this photo better? And I let her use this AI tool to pick whatever style. So she picked, obviously, a unicorn. Little girls love unicorns. But the result, I don't know how it'll turn out, is pretty fantastic. So this is using the power of artificial intelligence to improve photography. So the reason I'm here is because my good friend Leo asked me to come and talk. You know, some say that Leo has a heart of gold. I can't show you that, but I can make a gold Leo for sure. And this one I wasn't going to show, but it's too funny and it's coming up on Halloween. He should be bronze. That's Scott and Tessa, right? Yeah. So if you wanted to make a spooky Halloween greeting card that you can send out, I merged it with a spooky picture and you get a spooky result for sure. But it's kind of fun. It's a practical application of artificial intelligence that everybody can use and benefit from. So in closing, I really appreciate you guys inviting me to come and talk, and I think Rotary is a pillar of our community that shows strength, and I appreciate you letting me come and talk to you a little bit and for everything you guys do in the community. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So going back to the arena setting,
yeah.
So I think you said there were 60 boxes?
On the Empire State Building, there were 60, and the ACC, we have 12.
Okay, so there's 12. So where are they physically located within the building to do that?
Yeah, so next time you're there, if you're lucky enough to afford a ticket to the Convention Center, you look up and just behind the speakers and along the catwalk, you'll see there's 12 projectors. There's actually 6 locations, and we co-locate them. So 2 go together. Up in the Colorado Avalanche has the record. They bought 18 of our units. So they have 18 in that installation.
They're pointed at the ice.
Yes, they're right above, pointed up, and that was actually, if you remember that grid pattern I showed you, the real problem is that most of these NHL arenas and other venues have concerts that come in. The concerts come in and whack the projectors out of alignment, and then the next day they turn on the system and everything doesn't look right. So we actually developed a software system that used cameras and other artificial intelligence to look at the ice. And what used to take them 3 hours to manually align the 12 projectors took them 15 minutes. And that's one of the reasons we realized a lot of success, is that our competitors have projectors, but they don't have that system that glues it all together.
Jack?
Is the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium one of your clients? And second question, you said you've got like half in the world. Who's the other closest competitor?
So we talked to the Odd a lot in the last years, and they had a very basic system that kind of moved around and did some stuff. It wasn't very bright. We talked to them, and I personally have been working with Leo in other regards to try to get our systems out more locally. We do a lot to loan out 1 or 2 and eat the cost where we can, but to do a 4, 8, or 12 of them is challenging. So we haven't got there yet, but we're working with them, and we'd love to do something.
But the Odd has something similar.
The Odd has something very similar. So they're not quite this small and not like ours. There's a projector kind of class that's in between. They can actually fit inside a moving light. So if you go to a rock show and they have moving lights, those are actually, in the Odd, those are projectors that can move around, and that's where they can move around and shine. So they have something similar. It's just when they shine on the ice, they usually can only get to the level of brightness and contrast that maybe you can put up a player's number or jersey number. The effects that you can get when you put more projectors and brighter projectors is you can really create a false sense of depth. So you can make people think that the ice is falling away beneath them, where the Odd can't quite get there. Competitors, you asked, we have one competitor that's very niche. They're called Barco out of Belgium, and they're our most direct competitor. What we're really scared of are people like Panasonic and Sony, other consumer branded companies coming into our professional space, because they give away these systems to the Odd. They give them away because then they can put up their advertising. So that's really challenging for a manufacturer who doesn't sell to consumers at all to come back. So we're having to be really creative.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The other comment with regards to the Odd-John, it cannot support the additional weight that Christie's projectors will.
Yeah, we did do a study. That's right. We
Right.
did.
In the ceiling.
In the ceiling, it can't be suspended because engineering wouldn't permit it.
So these cameras are really heavy then?
Yeah. So the one that's popular for the Air Canada Center, those are about 200 pounds each. But then the rigging that's used, they're on hoists that go up and down for servicing. That adds another few hundred pounds. So when we do our engineering surveys, we're having to certify thousands of pounds. And the pros, it's not a problem, but local older arenas, it often is a challenge.
There you go, John, another reason.
Matt?
Just a question, you talked there about, obviously, about combining the arts with technology. Is there a specific type of artist that works, that the tech community is really looking for? Is it graphic artists? Is it?
It's really everyone. We want to. I think what's nice when you think about artists is that it's for everybody. I can be an artist with STEM, and it can make an artist, a visual artist, a graphic artist, somebody he paints. It allows them to be more technical as well. So the integration of STEM and the arts, I think, is what's really important. The kind of low-hanging fruit, the first time it's going to be computer graphic artists that will really be able to penetrate both markets really well. But in the future, I hope my kids, who they won't even need to code or develop, and they'll be able to make beautiful artwork just on their computer.
What's the approximate value of each one of those boxes?
So each one of those ones that we have in the Air Canada Center is about 60,000 a piece just for the projector. We did a special deal for the Las Vegas Knights because we knew they were going to have a lot of momentum and a big show, and we wanted to do more and more of them. So I think we gave them a package of 12 with the computers that drive them all and everything for about 600,000 for that venue. Paid off because they had a great year, and we're talking about doing more. I don't know if you guys remember, in their venue they have these weird structures that stick out over the crowd, and that's where their VIP bars are. They're perfect structures to project back onto. So we're talking about illuminating other pieces of the arena now with them. But yeah, 60,000 a pop about.
Judy?
I think I saw the installation at Community Tech when it was in, and it was being used sort of like the hologram deck from the Star Trek series, right? Where it was a big wall and it was projecting, and then people were wearing their AI or their artificial experience goggles. And so are you looking to move into a home market to do that with gaming and things in a rec room kind of a?
Yeah, it's a great question. Christie, not so much. Thalmic up the road, there's rumors that they're creating a head-mounted display for control, like a Google Glass that works, essentially. And I hope they do, because that would be great for the community. Christie, no, because the head-mounted displays that you wear that are for VR are ideal for gamers and home use. And the systems that we really do are more professional or larger grade. So absolutely, that'll start penetrating the lower-end consumer market. You'll start seeing more of these head-mounted displays, and
the walls.
The walls, yeah, the walls are, yeah, they're even more expensive. So we do those walls for military simulation. Do a lot of business with the U.S. government for helicopter simulators, and where they immerse Army staff and everybody in these real worlds to train them. So yeah, it's like a holodeck on Star Wars, essentially.
Anyone else? Yeah.
I've had the benefit of touring Christie a couple of times. Would it be possible, don't put you on the spot, you don't have to answer right now, but maybe you see the size of our group, if we, because the tour there is pretty spectacular.
For you, Leo, anything. But absolutely, yeah, absolutely. You can reach out to me. Yeah, probably in our slower periods, like so over the holidays or in the middle of the summer, is usually the best because our production staff, we won't be interrupting. But yeah, we could do a tour.
Anyone else?
Just one more.
Yes, go ahead.
What's the distance, minimum, maximum distance for the box versus the where you're projecting it?
So what differentiates us from a lot of the lower end projectors is that we have a whole suite of lenses. So what's really expensive is these fantastic pieces of glass inside the lens. So we have the lenses that you can start So you're right up, not even like this, where the projector to illuminate this screen would be down here, and it shines off a mirror and back up onto the wall. And then we have ones where we shoot across, we've done across Niagara Falls from the US side across to, I think, Horseshoe, like it's kilometers, right? So light diminishes a little over time, but we can overcompensate it with brighter projectors.
Didn't you do the Queen's Jubilee or the buildings in the UK?
Yeah, we've done the UK, the Parliament buildings. Montreal has a lot of permanent installations. If you see any projection mapping anywhere where people are putting light on a building, it's either us or Barco or Panasonic. There's usually 3 companies.
Disney too?
Yes, we do a lot of, so Disney and Universal are 2 of our best customers. Again, if you're going with your grandkids to the rides, all of those rides you see are mostly Christie projectors. I'd say we have about 80% of that share.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a huge market for us. Unfortunately, Disney, they like keeping the magic behind the scenes, so we can't ever tell anybody it's us outside of a room like this. We'd love to be able to publicize it, but like the new Avatar World, all the rides in Universal, they're all
So like
Christie.
the Tower of Terror, when they put everything up on there?
Any visual display, there's I'd say 80 to 90% chance of
Insane. It
those.
puts you right into the game,
Yeah.
or the ride. It's a whole new experience
Yeah.
altogether. Nothing like it.
Exactly.
John?
Just a quick question. I happened to be in Australia for the Rotary convention years ago. The Opera House and all those other buildings. How many cameras must they have had there for the Opera House and multiple buildings on the...
I think the Opera House took about 20 to 30. I think it was in that realm. And now it'd probably be less. Every year when we get brighter and brighter projectors, you can utilize less and less of them. But yeah, an immense amount of projectors are required.
Plus, numerous other buildings as well. Like it was.
Yeah, and so we did the City Hall. If anyone's familiar, 2 Christmases ago, we did the City Hall mapping as a kind of our gift to the community. Even that structure required 10 of our projectors.
Anyone else? Owen, thank you very much for coming in and
really cool.
Sharing this with us today. I don't think most of us had any idea that was happening down the road from us on Wellington Street there. Although we've driven by, I don't know how many times. Vast majority of at least the men here in the club would have probably seen the Vegas night shows on television. So some of the stuff that goes on there that is fantastic. Some of the ladies might be big Vegas Nights fans too. But anyway, our club, instead of giving you another pen or pencil set or something like that, to show our appreciation and thanks for your coming in, have actually taken and restored the eyesight of a person in the third world, and this one is in Vienna, and you can tackle the name yourself. It's a 37-year-old male that we've actually paid for the eyesight restoration in your name. Thank you so much.
You need a shovel.
It was a cheap
My wife's
shot.
cousin. She worked for years as a graphic artist in movie business.
I'm doing the best I
All the
can.
plants in the back cave in some of his movies.
And so if there's nothing else for the good of Rotary,